Make some noise for your host, Kid Copious.
What up, perps? Kid Copious. Back in the bunker. Purple State Party. Angry little Alf here on Christmas time. Not going to film one before Christmas, so this is my Christmas episode. You know, it's not going to be much of a Christmas episode. Especially not in this crap hole of a year, man. 2020 is what happens when Bond loses the battle. You know, as some big tech giant conspires with a foreign country to release a disease and drive his stock up and everybody else's, I can't work on camera, drive everybody else's stock down. So, you know, I'm a Christmas kind of person at heart. You know, I usually go and visit like certain areas to see the lights. You know, wear my elf hat to even the company Christmas party. I'll wear a Santa hat to work. I don't care. I like it. But this year's just really effed up because we got to this point now. You know, I have a brother. He's a stark raving liberal. Once punched a guy for being communist, but now he's one himself. You know how the world turns. But you know, he's gonna make his yearly visit down here, and I'm not seeing it happening because we had a falling out, and it's a falling out that I heard somebody talking about, and goes a little something like this. In the past, we had differences. Let's take the Second Amendment, right? You know, the Republicans, the right, say, hands off my guns. The left says sensible gun control. You know, but at the end of the day, we all sing the national anthem. We say the Pledge of Allegiance. We love America. We love George Washington. And we think America's bitching. Now, one side, the left, I don't know if that's my left, the left seems to no longer really believe that. They want to teach people, like down in San Diego, they're teaching the teachers that they're white colonizers. You know, my adopted family, you know, didn't come to this country until the 1930s. You know, one came from Italy, one came from Canada. I don't know how much colonization they did. They worked tough jobs, you know, and you know, they went through some tough times. They, you know, my grandfather went through the Spanish flu or the influenza or whatever we're calling it nowadays, way back in the early 1900s. But I don't think that I can get past these fundamental issues that I have now with the left. White people are not bad. We're not colonizers. And America is bitching. But people don't see it that way anymore. And it's hard because we don't have a common ground. We're not, I don't feel like they're Americans. You know, I just don't. I don't feel that way anymore. The way they badmouth everything about America, the way they side with criminals, the way they just want to let places like China off the hook, Iran off the hook, North Korea off the hook, Russia off the hook. You know, it doesn't feel like they really want to take part in the same America that Washington built. You know, they're destroying monuments to Washington and Lincoln and others of our great leaders, you know, other great leaders that we've had. And the side that they seemingly represent, or the side that they're closest to, doesn't seem to condemn it. You know, we still have the stupid shit going on in Portland and Seattle. You know, that's not America. America does not allow essentially armed insurrections in their cities. We don't negotiate with terrorists. That's what these people are. And yeah, they are armed. Whether it's a makeshift weapon or a straight up firearm, they have it. You know, they were firebombing the police, for God's sakes. It's really hard to get across that chasm. Chasm. Yeah. But it is hard to make that leap now because there's a divide. They have blurred the lines of right and wrong, and some of us have kept them pretty, straight and narrow. They haven't bent. Mixing my metaphors, but it really gets me because we can't have a discussion anymore. And wrap it up, what started the whole thing was, first of all, he called me an anti-vaxxer. Yeah, that's not a good thing. But when I was talking about what Gascon did in Los Angeles, getting rid of gang enhancements and all of that, my brother's response was to bring up Mississippi and welfare and Donald Trump. He doesn't want to talk about California because California, as we're going to see, is a mess. It's a straight up mess. But if he's going to sit there and badmouth America, badmouth our history, and just bring up Trump whenever I try to bring up something that's actually important, I don't know how you get across that, Blood is thicker than politics. I don't know. It doesn't feel like it is anymore. It feels like we are in the pre-dawn hours of a civil war. Feels that way. Hi, I'm smiling still. But I wanted to start off with this, Ricky Gervais. It's common now to mistake defending someone's right to say things with agreeing with those things. If you don't support free speech for people who you disagree with, then you don't support free speech. And remember, it's your right not to listen and even say things back. Ricky Gervais. He once said, just because you're offended doesn't mean you're right. And that's what we need to look at. Because we're not allowed to say anything anymore. Nobody wants to hear it. It's just the wokeism now. And it's false wokeism, just so you know. You want to rewrite history, but I'm sorry. Civil rights and white people being involved with civil rights and people standing up to injustice and white people standing up to injustice, it's been going on for a while. So don't pretend that you've got some sort of fucking monopoly on it, because you don't. All right? You bought Baltic and are trying to call it Boardwalk, so piss off. That's for Ricky Gervais right there. Piss off. So anyhow, I just, I wish we operated with some sort of sense of that. Allowing people their differences of opinion. But anyhow. So here's this one would have been one of my favorites. But there were some other good ones. But I love this one. Top Biden staffer calls Republicans a bunch of fuckers. And I mean, look at her. She looks like she jacks off to Harry Potter movies. Not that there's anything wrong with Harry Potter movies. Or even jacking off to them. But she does look the type. I'm sure her cats all agree. Pretty sure about that. I'm willing to bet that she has a vibrator named Obama. And just saying. You know what? We are a bunch of fuckers at times, man. I know I am. Oh, Jesus, whatever. So here's another fun topic that we get to talk about, because now it's happened in LA. The defund the police movement. And it must be going well, right? Because it was thought up by all the intellectual progressive motherfuckers out there. Right? Austin defunded their police, and murders are up 54% over last year, and aggravated assaults are up 13%. Well, I mean, look at it this way. I mean, if the aggravated assaulters get even better at it, then it turns into murder. So, I would say aggravated assaults are kind of on a rise more than 13%, because pretty sure murder is an aggravated assault. But don't pull that shit in LA, because they're not going to allow you to add that on. They'd rather call it aggravated assault than murder. It's probably got less paperwork, lazy fuckers. But yeah, so not working well there in Austin. Okay. Oh. Wow. It's not working well in Minneapolis either. They embraced the defund the police movement. What do they got now? Murders up 75%, and carjacking skyrocket 331%. Wow. One of the shittiest non-murdery type rape and murder type crimes. Carjacking. That's right up there with home invasion. And they're not going to prosecute these people. They're not going to try to keep them in jail for the rest of their lives. They're going to look for every excuse to let them out. See, that's the problem. Is before, Democrats basically were on the same page as us. Don't defund the police and lock these motherfuckers up, even if it means killing them. We're not really for the death penalty, but we get it. That guy was an extremely bad motherfucker. So, whatever. Shock therapy. It's a failure. It's basic math. It already happened in San Francisco, and all people had to do was look at San Francisco, and they wouldn't have voted for Gascon. But that bitch Soros, that Bond villain that he is, he pumped a bunch of money in, and they actually had the government people here pull their endorsements. The mayor Garcetti, the representative Schiff, I believe even slimy ass Newsom. They pulled their endorsement of a black female, and LA said, yeah, let's get the white guy who fucked up San Francisco. That's funny. You can't make that up. Here's another thing you can't make up. France has a law that no more than 60% of senior positions can go to a single gender. The female mayor of Paris appointed too many women, so now they're being fined by the feds. Feminists are mad because they hate their own standards. Lamau. Yeah, well, that's, I mean, it's funny to me. It's, because, as a white man, we are the only viable target anymore. And you know what the worst part about it is too, is that making jokes about only white men, it gets kind of lame after a while. It will, because people will get sick of the same target. I mean, they did it with Trump, but that was extra special. That was covered in extra special sauce. But whatever. I don't care. Most of today's sitcoms are shit. And I don't want to fucking argue about it. California has some of the most restrictive shutdowns in the county. And now we're just leading the nation in cases and death. Either way, it's gross. Because either it's real, and we really are having all these hospitalizations. We're down to like 0% in the ICUs, but they don't count emergency ICUs, things that have been transformed into an ICU. So, for every one ICU unit bed that they have, they could have another one set up somewhere else in the hospital. But whatever, the media is going to continue to play along and milk this story for all it's worth. But so none of our shutdowns have worked. This is halfway worked. I signed the petition. When I signed the petition and I turned around and there was motherfucking Earl Weber. Guy who was running for Congress and now he's running for governor. A black guy running for the governorship of California for the Republican Party. And we're intolerant. And we're this, that, and the other thing. I believe our other candidate's Hispanic. So I think the Republicans are fucking up the whole, trying to be a racist. No, that's the Democrats, man. Biden's a racist. Here you go. Newsom as Ramesses, as the Jews flee Egypt, led by Moses. They all left, sir. Come back. I need to raise your taxes. He does want to raise taxes, and he wants to make it retroactive. So even if you moved out of the state, and I doubt this is moving ahead, but he was basically going to retroactively raise the taxes even if you moved out of the state 9 years ago. He was going to send you a bill. Or for 9 years after you leave. I don't remember which way it was going to go. Either way, what an arrogant son of a bitch. Oh, we lost hundreds of thousands of residents. Huh? I wonder why. Huh? I don't know. I mean, it's the Golden State, right? Slaps the roof of West Coast. This bad boy can fit so many idiots in it. Bring back an old meme there. He should have been slapping the top there up by Washington. Washington's sad to me because that's my second home state and I can't go back there. I don't get it, man. It's like the song said, they paved paradise and put up a parking lot. And that parking lot is rampant socialism and weak politicians. All of these are just weak asses. Bunch of punk-ass bitches now. That's what they are, man. I used to be proud Californian. Now I feel like a prisoner. Republican Dan Crenshaw. The final relief package must include the restaurant acts. Yeah, restaurants, bars, food trucks, event services. They got crushed. I understand some of it had to be done. But there's no science behind the outdoor dining ban. At least it gave people something, man, to keep morale up. See, these politicians, unlike a guy like Crenshaw, they don't have a warrior's mentality. And we realize that there has to be some respite among the battle. You have to allow your troops to refresh. We needed to refresh. We needed bits and pieces of normalcy to hold on to our sanity. We're killing kids. Kids are committing suicide over this shit. Like, the government's job should be to prevent child suicide, not contribute to it. And driving businesses out. They're not supposed to drive businesses out. They're supposed to work with businesses. They're supposed to help businesses prosper so that communities do better. You shut them down. You fine them. You go after them. You target them. You know? You don't work with them. That's the problem I see, is the government's not working. They might sign a paltry check here or there, but they need more money, man. But then again, when it's all over, the vultures are going to come in and they're going to open up restaurants where other failed restaurants are. So keep your eye on that, because you're not going to want to go to those places because they're evil. They're evil vultures, really. No evidence investigated. Has evidence, no investigation. Yeah, no evidence on Trump. Evidence on Hunter, no investigation. Man, moving on. Hunter pre-election, yeah, laptop and Russian disinformation. Hunter post-election. Hunter Biden under federal investigation. Yeah, look at that. Everybody, you know, they knew they had to get the guy or go after the guy or investigate the guy, but they waited until after the election. That was nice of them. Here you go. Biden won't meet with Black Lives Matter, and they're upset. Who would have thought that the racist, who is so racist that he appoints a token, would not meet with Black Lives Matter? I wanted to riff on Black Lives Matter, but I almost feel, I feel bad for them, because they, like a lot of lefties, got played. They did. You put a racist conservative in there, man. You put a fossil in there. You played all of your hand. Now, everybody's going to see what you're made of. It's going to be fun. The Grinch who stole an election with, I like that because that's a Grinch reference. Biden's the Grinch here. This is from Bronco. He's holding the bag of foreign interference from China with mail-in ballots, election fraud, and voter fraud. Oh, yeah, but he won the election legally. Yeah. Right, because there is that much enthusiasm for Biden. Let's be honest. If you think coronavirus is scary, you should see what governments can do to unarmed citizens. Nice to see Peter Griffin in here again. I mean, that one kind of speaks for itself. At the end of the day, that's again going back to that warrior mentality. Some of us realize we may, or our kids or our grandkids may have to fight for this country or defend this country. History has a really, really good track record at repeating. The civil wars throughout history, the world wars, the small conflicts, the invasions. You don't know, man. You don't know. You keep chipping away at the military with enough of this socialist bullshit, you can weaken us, and you can weaken people's resolves, and you can raise generations who can't even fight, who won't fight, who would rather be taken over than to take up arms against a country and defend us. Naked cop here with the sign covering his genitals saying defunded. Minneapolis police, what's your emergency? Yeah, that was very apropos. Bronco again, genius artist. I love his stuff. The tin can phone. Yeah, it's not going to work. It's dumb. And the worst part is it's going to disproportionately, and the Democrats always talk about this, it's going to disproportionately affect certain people. certainly not the rich. So, think about that the next time you get all on your high horse and want to vote for Democrats. They are the rich people who don't give a shit about the poor. Let's be honest. Just because they sign welfare checks doesn't mean they care. And here we go, the best one. I saw Time Person of the Year. And it's a bunker door. Because that's what we saw out of him. He quarantined. I get that. I understand that. I've got no problem with that. But I think he overdid it. I think he hid. I think he did as little as possible and allowed other people. And, he was just counting on, if you think about it, what makes him so gross is the Democrats were counting on the political tide, the unrest in the streets. BLM was on everybody's mind. He appoints a black female, and they figured they had it on lockdown. Once they had the mail-in ballots, they knew they had it on lockdown because it didn't matter who did or didn't go to the polls. They were just going to mail their ballots in, or somebody would mail them in for them, or somebody would fill them out for them. Yeah, I'm never going to accept it. Say it right here, right now. I'm not. If I see anything positive out of Biden's administration, I will give credit where credit's due. But he is a president with an asterisk. Copious out.